Hi, my name is Sam. I'm an MBA 2016. I'm originally from Switzerland. I had the chance at the LBS to be president to the Out in Business Club, which is the LGBT club here at London Business School. I was involved from the very first day, helping out in the club, taking on the role as a president in the second year. And my greatest contribution in that sense was to help on the organization of our annual Year Out conference. The first year helping out, the second year as actually the president and executing the conference. And now, as I'm going to be graduating, I'll be joining our alumni board. So reflecting back on the journey of organizing the Year Out conference, there are, I think, 6 guiding principles that stand out to me on what made this conference such a success. The first one is really think about what you want to achieve. Think about what should be the goal of this conference. Why does this conference exist? What do you want to get out of it? And from that, you also have to think of, now, who do you want to target? Who should come? Is it students? Is it academics? Is it professionals? Is it alums? And then, if you have decided that, what is valuable to them? Why would they want to attend? What do they want to get out of it? I think this is really, really important that you get these basic questions right before you think of anything else. It is really important to attract the key audience, the people that you want to get. That means you really need to think of who do you want to attract and what do you want to deliver to them. You need to think of what is the value for them to come. Because only if you can fulfill a good value proposition, then that way you can get them intrigued and get them actually to come. Once you've that sorted, then the marketing bit is actually the easier part. You then start reaching out to other clubs, to professional organizations, to the sponsors and so on, and they will also spread the word for you. But you have to first make it relevant to people in order for them to be committed to come. Getting companies, meaning sponsors or recruiters, to come to your conference is also not the easiest task. It's just like attracting audience or speakers. You have to get the why question right. You have to tell them why they should come and be very, very specific on what benefits they're going to get from you. So really think of what makes it relevant for them and what are you willing to give them to come. So the second thing is then you have to be very realistic about your conference. Like, it is a lot of work. And if I say a lot of work, I mean a lot of work. There's especially in the days when it's coming up to the conference, there's no spare time you're gonna have around your schoolwork except the time you spend into the conference. Then also think of the ambition level. What do you want to achieve of the conference? You don't need to reinvent the wheel all over again, but really pick the 3 things that you want to change compared to previous years. The third thing, you have to get your governance right. You really have to think of how do you want to structure your team and how do you want to allocate the tasks. It's not about the title. It should not be about the title. It should be about what is the specific task that you want to allocate to what people, and then give them full ownership for it. They are responsible. They have to feel responsible, and they really have to want to do it. No one is going to make a great conference just because they have a fancy title. They really need to believe in what they do, that that's the right thing to do. As a fourth point, you have to get the managing principles right. That means you need to manage the team. So for me, very important was to create a vision. You have, at the very beginning of the journey, you have to give the team the feeling like this is something great. You have to give them the feeling of what it will be on the specific day to stand in that room and see it all unfold. Only if you manage to get that across, you get them excited, and that's when they will start putting all the work into it. On that, you have to think about team building, because when times get tough, it's really important that the team is still willing to work together. So start very early on team building. take the team out for dinners and lunches and other activities and do this regularly. You want to get along with each other because only then you'll be willing to work together towards the end when things get challenging. You also want to start very early. The earlier you start, the better or the more chance you have of a good success. And this means also engaging everyone early. So starting with your team, the school, including the professors, professionals, sponsors, speakers, and other people you haven't even thought about at the beginning that are willing to contribute in some way. The earlier you get them on board, the more they feel like the conference is also their conference. And that's when they start giving you their time and their resources. There are a lot of challenges of starting early because you have so much to do. You're doing your program, you're probably involved with recruiting. So it requires a lot of discipline to sit down and think about something that's more than 1 year in advance. It's also very difficult because there's a lot involved around setting the date, and there is restrictions from sides from the school where they don't know yet what's going to happen in that year's time. But you have to take the risk, because if you don't set the date, you won't be able to plan that far ahead, and that means you won't get the greatest speakers. That means you can't give your sponsors already an indication of when it's going to happen, and then they can't commit either. The benefit though of planning that far ahead is you will get great speakers. You can have the chance to get into their diaries before anyone else does, and the same accounts with sponsors. If you tell them, hey, we're really keen on getting you involved and we'd love for you to support us, and you, by the way, you only have to pay us like a year from today, that makes it much easier for them to say, oh, this sounds great, yes, we will do it. And you're actually in their budget cycle way ahead of everyone else. Organizing a conference is a great way to apply, but also to learn skills, predominantly leadership skills. You need to become the manager and you need to lead your team. That means you need to be able to set a vision, you need to motivate your teams toward that, you need to do a lot of long-term planning. But most important to me was also like, you need to get very disciplined on yourself, because sitting down today on something that might be relevant a year from today is hard, especially if there's so much going on like here at LBS. At the same time, it's also a great way to learn interpersonal skills. You need to engage with so many different audience groups. And there's a very different skill you need to apply in order to get a very senior, high potential speaker to come and speak. Then you would need to engage with your team, the school staff, or the potential participants. In order to get everyone to work together, to make the conference really great, you need to motivate your team. You really need to take them onto this journey from the very beginning. That means you need to make them feel from the first day of how they will feel when they're actually standing there and the whole event is happening. You need to sit them down and paint the picture that you see, and then tell them how you're going to take them there. You need to really give them the feeling like they're part of something great. And once you got their buy-in, you need to give them their part of responsibility. They really need to feel like it's also their conference and not just yours. Executing that vision then is a very practical approach, because you need to think of how do you now convey this vision that you build for yourself to others. The fifth point is, this is a long-term commitment that you enter. It really is long-term. You want to start early with planning the event, but it's also not over when it's done. It's important for a conference to be planned in the long term, to build on the success of previous year in order to be successful year after year after year. That also includes doing proper handovers. So you can't drop your pen when it's done. You need to get your new leadership team engaged way before you're already done, so that they know that's going to be their task once the conference is over. And then you have to work with them for months afterwards to make sure all the contacts, all the information, all the success factor that you gathered, that you can pass this on to the other one. That also means you should stay involved with alums. And as an alum, you will have to stay involved as well. What was a really great success factor to Eurout over the past years was the establishment of an alumni board. These are mostly alums, but also other supporters of the conference, long-term supporters that have committed to dedicate their time regularly to come together as a meeting and give their input and are willing to step up if things go wrong. In order to organize a great conference, it's key to plan very early in advance. This is not that easily done, but it's really important that you start the conversation early with your team about already the conference the year after. This requires a lot of discipline and requires you to think very long term, but also about what should be the vision of the conference overall and not just the individual conference events. And then when you think about that, you need to start doing your succession planning. I think it's organizing a great conference at LBS, it's like a 3-year process. In the first year, you help out the people that are second years. In your second year then, you get very involved as actually executing a conference. But it's only the third year, when you're already about to leave or have left, that you create the conference that you envisioned in the previous year. And the sixth principle, and I think this is probably the most important, it has to do with passion. You have to want to do this. You have to really, really, really believe in that whatever you're planning, it's worth your time. You have to believe that you're contributing to something greater, that you have to believe in the cause of your conference. No matter what it is, the goal of the conference has to be fully aligned with your goals. Because if not, if you do it for your CV, you're never going to get the most out of it. It's just not going to feel the same at the end of the day, and you're not going to be able to produce something grand with which you're going to be very proud of.